Recording in progress.
All right, so I call to order the September 9th, 2024 meeting of the Easton Conservation Commission. This meeting is being conducted remotely over Zoom. Attendance by board and commission members will be remote. Remote attendance shall count towards a quorum. The meeting is also being broadcast live and will be recorded on ECAT. So let's just begin with a roll call vote to establish quorum.
Benson, present.
Carroll, present.
Spady, present.
Vecchio, present.
Apologize, we're beginning with a tech issue on my end. I've lost the agenda. All right, so first order of business is hearings and possible deliberations. 320 Washington Street, request for determination of applicability for electrical upgrades.
So I'm Jonathan Hedlund with Niche Engineering. Also with me is Joe Falone. Jennifer, can you let him in the meeting as well?
Oh, got it.
All right. While you're doing that, I'm going to share my screen. Let me know when you can see it.
We can see it.
All right, so we are requesting an RDA for electrical upgrades at Bolden Hall on the Stonehill campus. To give you the lay of the land, this is Stonehill. Our project is situated right in this location. This is Bolden Hall. Zoom in here. So we are proposing a transformer in this location and a generator in this location. Now I'll go to the site plan, showing more schematics. So we have coordinated with the utility provider for the transformer location, and they requested the transformer to be located here with bollards around. Just note, there's the main electrical rooms located right here. We are also proposing a generator right here. It is noted we are in the riverfront area and also the 50-foot no disturb zone, but because of the feasibility of locations of the generator and transformer, we don't see any foreseeable way to move this out of the no disturb zone because the main electrical room and also siting the generator anywhere around this other building is not feasible. There's a parking lot back here. We'd have to take up parking lot spots to put the generator right in this location. It's too close via codes for windows and offsets of windows and too close to the building. And this transformer was located by the utility providers, so we don't have flexibility there. There's going to be conduit running from Holy Cross Drive that runs into the transformer and new conduit from the generator as well. So we're proposing erosion control along the perimeter of the disturbance area. This disturbance area, as you can tell, is actually pretty degraded. So as part of this project, they're going to reseed this and replant it with the seed mix and let it stabilize. So that's pretty much the project in a nutshell. So I'm happy to answer any questions. And
I have a quick question about the generator.
yes.
What sort of generator is it? And I assume it comes with some sort of containment for any possible fuel leaks down the future.
Oh, shit, I just had that. So here's the pad mounted generator right here. Concrete slab, reinforcing. So I don't know, is Joseph on this call? Yeah. Because you could probably answer this question.
Yeah, it's a natural gas generator.
Oh, great.
Yep. So
you can have a backup on that, backup fuel supply in case the gas is compromised.
Nope, it's just natural gas.
Okay, thank you.
I think the generator might actually prevent foot traffic over there and help with your erosion and wear issue. Jennifer, any staff comment here?
It did not have any other comments. No.
Any additional comments or questions from members of the commission? Anyone here for public comment with regards to 320 Washington Street? All right, I assume you guys would like to close?
Yes.
Motion to close the public hearing on 320 Washington Street.
Benson, second.
Carroll motion, Benson second, roll call vote.
Benson, aye.
Carol, I.
Spady, aye.
Vecchio, aye.
Motion to issue a negative determination of applicability, noting +5 and -2 under the Wetland Protection Act and -2 under the bylaw.
Spady, second.
Carol motion, Spady a second, roll call vote.
Benson, aye.
Carol, I.
Spady, aye.
Vecchio, aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Up next is 84 Kevin's Way. Request for determination of applicability for a septic upgrade.
Yeah, just raise your hand for if you're here for that, please. Oh, good thing I did that. I was going to promote the wrong person all the time.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can hear you and we can see you.
Okay, great. My name is Bob Vey with Norfolk Engineering, and I represent folks at 84 Kevin's Way. We have an existing 3-bedroom house with a failed septic system. We have designed a new system. It entails a 1,500-gallon septic tank, a 1,000-gallon pump chamber, and then an Elgin leach field. We've proposed a erosion control barrier, silt sock, and
Sorry, Bob, do you have a plan that you'd like to show us?
yeah, and I'm not great at this, so I'm sorry. I should have done that first. Let's see. Is there a way to share my screen?
Yes, you go right ahead.
Should be a green arrow at the bottom. If you click share, it'll show you what's up on your desktop.
Awesome. Thanks for helping me out.
Of course.
It doesn't seem to want me to do it. Yeah, it's not, the share button is not getting there. It's not allowing.
Do you see that?
It's not allowing me to click on it.
The green arrow at the bottom's not allowing you to click on it?
I actually don't have it. Well, I went to that. Hang on,
Yep.
let me back out of this.
So usually if you drag your cursor to the bottom of the screen, the bottom bar will sort of pop up and you'll see a green upward facing arrow that says share screen right below it in green letters.
Yeah, and I clicked on that. I did
Yep.
that, but then when it says share, it's not allowing anything.
Do you already have your document open?
I do. I have it open on my screen right now. I don't know if you can see it.
We cannot.
You cannot.
So if you click share, does it open? Does it go to like a window?
Oh, hang on. Now it's going to let me do it.
Perfect.
Can you see it now?
Yep.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Assuming that's the right plan, we can see. Yes, Kevin's Way.
Yes, it is.
Yep.
So I'm sorry. You can see here we have the driveway on the left-hand side of the property. We have
Yep.
wetlands to the rear. And then I am designing, like I said, a 3-bedroom septic system consisting of a 1,500-gallon tank, 1,000-gallon pump chamber, and then an Elgin leach field. I am proposing a silt sock erosion control barrier. And I think I'm just over 50 feet from the wetlands.
So is some of the rating going to be within the 50-foot buffer?
No. I think I'm just off of that. See, if you take a look, you can see my my erosion control barrier, and it is just outside of the 50.
I'm sorry, I was.
Okay, so if you take a look at the bottom of the plan, you'll see my 50-foot wetland buffer zone.
Yes.
Check, and if you follow that up, you'll see that it's just outside.
Okay, and then it looks like there's just a little bit of crossover of the erosion control.
Correct, but there's not regrading it. The slope goes from, as you're looking at the property from the street, from left to right, and there's not grading up at that little corner.
Okay, thank you. I got a little confused by the marker for 100, which is a grade stamp, and just looking at it from here. So I apologize.
Got it.
Staff comment on this, Jennifer?
Yes, there's lawn debris and compost in the wetland near flags 1 through 3 that needs to be removed.
So I don't know if my clients are here, but they spent this weekend doing that. So I haven't seen it, but.
Okay. No disturbance zone markers should be on the plan with the detail and the sediment control detail. Is there another page to your plan?
Yes, there is. And I have the marker on there. I don't have a detail on the sediment control.
Okay.
I do have the conservation post detail there. Oh, I do have the control barrier detail as well.
Okay, so the location of the markers is something that we usually ask for. They'll be at least 20 feet apart.
Okay.
So is the erosion control on the plan? Is there a detail?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. No other comments.
All right. Any comments or questions from members of the commission? Any public comment here for 84 Kevin's Way? All right. So seeing that there's no public comment, I guess the representation is that the compost has been removed from the wetland area.
Yes.
And I think it sounds like all of our other questions have been addressed and are on the plan. So I'm going to make a motion to close the public hearing. Motion to close the public hearing.
Vecchio second.
Carol motion, Vecchio second. Roll call vote.
Benson, aye.
Carol, aye.
Beatty, aye.
Vecchio, aye.
All right, and motion to issue a negative determination of applicability, noting a +5 and -3 under the Wetland Protection Act and a -3 under the bylaw.
Beatty,
Vecchio second.
Carol motion, Spadia second. Roll call vote.
Benson, aye.
Carol, aye.
Beatty, aye.
Vecchio, aye.
Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you.
So up next, under hearings and possible deliberations, is 10 Beaver Dam Road, permit for work for a septic upgrade.
Waiting for me? Kind of switched off for a second there.
We can see you, we can hear you.
Okay, I will share the screen.
Thank you.
Craig Siganowski of Rim Engineering, representing William Freese, the owner at 10 Beaver Dam Road. When he bought the house earlier this year, it failed Title V. So we were brought in to do a septic upgrade and discovered that there's some wetlands on the property. So this is the house is built in '74. The septic went in then. This is the existing septic system here that's been in place since then. The tank here in the septic area. So we do have a 4-bedroom house. Due to this is a split level house, so we have the pipe coming out under the foundation. And with the higher groundwater, where you have to have a 1,000-gallon pump chamber, 1,500-gallon 2-chamber septic tank. And then we have a leach field here. As I said, we found this isolated wetland. We brought in Brad Holmes of Environmental Consulting and Restoration, ECR. And he confirmed the flags and then noted that when he was examining the area, that there's a possibility that this is a vernal pool. But right now, this time of year, we can't check that. So we did ask for a waiver to work within, assuming that this is a vernal pool. So we do have siltation control coming along here. The existing tank is in this location. That'll either have to be removed completely or crushed in place so the new tank can be placed 10 feet from the foundation. We had tried perking further back. The soil would not, the water did not move at all, go in the ground. We had to move the system forward here. Thought about trying to put it out front, but because of the split level and the having to go, you'd have to tear up the slab foundation to move the pipe. We decided to put it here. We've had groundwater about 4 feet down, and we did request a local upgrade from the Board of Health to allow 3 feet of cover over between the bottom of the field and the high groundwater. I spoke to the Board of Health agent this morning. It's been with them for quite some time now. And he has approved the design, but still waiting for approval from the Board of Health itself for the local upgrade to allow 3 feet of groundwater. We were doing that to keep the grading over the system as low as possible. We do have a impervious barrier running along this side of the septic system because we're within, we can't make breakout by code. We're 15 feet away. So this line here is the 50-foot buffer zone going through a portion of the house. In this area here, we located all the trees that would have to be removed. There are several, including some 10-inch, 24-inch trees and many smaller ones, but there is no other place on the lot that we can put the septic system. I know they've already had started some work around the house, so we had them put siltation control in. I assume they put it where the limit of the lawn was. I have not been back since they did that. So we are calling for conservation markers. I wasn't exactly sure we would want them in this case, considering the 50-foot buffer does go through the house. I was placing them along the edge of the trees, the existing tree line. But I'm sure Mr. Fries will place them wherever you would choose. If you have any questions.
Well, I don't think he'd like them in his living room, but
no.
Point's taken. So the potential vernal pool, where is it inside? Because you have the isolated wetland labeled. Where is the? I guess my question is more simple than I'm making it. Where approximately is the PVP?
Well, ECR didn't flag it, so I would assume it would be the edge of what we're showing now.
Okay.
We did check to see if this was ILSF, but it's 4,500 square feet and only contains 2,300 cubic feet, so it doesn't qualify as that.
Okay.
There is no outlet to this. We've worked on this lot, house number 6, probably 10 years ago, and had located this side, so we did have an idea of how large this thing is.
Is there a liner proposed for the septic system?
Yep, the impervious barrier will be at the 5 foot, 5 foot from the septic system.
Thank you, and you did answer that question in your presentation. I apologize.
That's fine. It's 40 mil impervious barrier.
Jennifer, any additional staff comment here?
No additional comments. Thanks.
So it sounds like you're still working with the Board of Health on this. Do you want? This is a question we still have to deliberate as a board, but do you want a permit tonight, or is this something that's subject to change?
Well, the only thing that would change if they didn't approve the granting of the 1 foot waiver over groundwater is we'd have to raise the system. Even if you go to like the Elgin system, the system itself allows you to go to 2 feet over groundwater, but the towns don't allow that. So it wouldn't really help us. No, it's not going to move other than vertically. And in that case, we might need a retaining wall to keep it where we have it, and not be grading any closer to the wetlands.
Okay. Sorry, Jennifer, any additional staff comment?
No, thanks.
All right. Any comments or questions from other commissioners?
Negative.
Any public comment here for 10 Beaver Dam?
Ben, real quick question.
Yeah, of course.
For the vernal pool, just to make sure that will be gone over, so we can at least, if anything, certify if it's real.
Condition that it gets certified?
Yeah, or at least check it next year to make sure it's even a viable vernal pool anyway.
Yeah, so it's a permit for work, and I actually don't know the answer. Jennifer, can we condition certification? Okay.
Okay. Yeah, it's just, I'd rather. Why not?
Yeah. Craig, does your applicant, your client have any issues with us requesting a certification in the spring in the event that it is in fact a vernal pool?
I don't think he would, except I know he's not planning to live here. He rebuilding, flipping the house he's looking to sell. Okay. So I guess it would have to be a condition placed on the deed.
Okay. Which without an order of conditions, nothing really gets recorded, right, Jennifer?
The permit for work
gets recorded.
Bylaw version of that. It gets recorded. It will be on the deed.
Perfect.
Is Bill Freese online today?
I don't see that name.
I let him know we had the meeting and he was aware of it, so I was thinking he might be on. But again, he is looking to sell, so if you do want that as a condition, I guess he would accept that.
Okay. All right, motion to close the public hearing on 10 Beaver Dam Road.
Benson second.
Carol motion, Benson second, roll call vote.
Benson, aye.
Carol, aye.
Spady, aye.
Motion to issue a permit for work at 10 Beaver Dam Road.
Spady, second.
Carol motion, Spady second, roll call vote.
Benson, aye.
Carol, aye.
Spady, aye.
Yes, Sheila, aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, up next is 86 Allen Road. Notice of intent for a septic upgrade.
Good evening. You guys got me?
We can hear you. We can see you.
Awesome. I will pull up the plan. If you could confirm we're looking at it, should be good to go.
We can see it.
Awesome. For the record, Peter Lyons with Collins Civil Engineering Group, representing the homeowner here. This is a notice of intent for the repair of a failed 3-bedroom septic system on the east side of Allen Road. Looking at the site quick, to the south, we have a drain easement, which contains the outflow from the drainage in the road. This is delineated as flags MHW 1 through 10. We also have an associating BVW line with that wraps around the back of the site. 50-foot buffer cuts through the house. 100-foot buffer is basically paralleling the northern property line. So really nowhere on this site outside of jurisdiction. We're pretty much replacing the old leaching field here, which is in the backyard. Our proposal is to pump and fill the existing septic tank, provide a new 1,500-gallon tank to a approximately 20 by 37 foot leaching bed with plastic chambers. The plastic chambers will allow us to reduce the overall footprint of the leaching area, maximizing our separation to the resource. This is all being done in existing disturbed area. There'll be minimal vegetation removals like small brush and shrubs associated with the overdig and the northeastern side of the leaching field. Site access, little tricky here. We got a carport in the existing driveway and just not a whole lot of room on the north of the property. So we will need to be accessing the site within the 50-foot buffer. Looks like we've got doubled up straw bales and silt sock along the site access, shown by the dashed thicker lines. We're also proposing 1, 2, 3, looks like 4 conservation markers, pretty much at the existing edge of lawn tree line limits. There's one up front that we kind of just shoved into the landscaping bed to allow us to get site access and keep that just beyond the work limit. Additionally, as mentioned in the staff report, there is some debris to be removed in the area between flags 11 through 14. That was revised and shown on the plan. I don't know if I mentioned it, but no grade changes associated with this project. And again, it is existing previously disturbed area. We show stockpile dewatering pits to the north of the proposed work. Details for all that stuff are shown on the plan, as well as our sedimentation control plan. Site was delineated by Brooke Monroe, botanist. That's my recap. Any questions from the commission on this one?
Peter, could you just call out where the existing septic is?
Yeah, it's kind of tough to see, but it is there. Here's the leader for it, and it's this dash rectangle. So we're pretty much going to be removing the existing leaching field to install the new one. So there's an existing tank right behind the shed, and then pretty large, looks like, I don't know, 20 by 45 or so existing leaching.
Okay.
So that will be removed where encountered and just abandon, the rest of it.
All right, Jennifer, any staff comment here?
No, he's already mentioned the compost that needs to be removed from the wetland area.
Any comments or questions from other members of the commission? Seeing none, any public comment here for 86 Allen Road? Seeing none, Peter, I assume you'd like to close.
Yes, please.
Motion to close the public hearing for 86 Allen Road.
Benson second.
Carol motion, Benson second, roll call vote.
Benson, aye.
Carol, aye.
Spady, aye.
SGOI.
All right, motion to issue an order of conditions and permit for work for 86 Allen Road.
SGO second.
Carol motion, Vecchio second, roll call vote.
Benson, aye.
Carol, aye.
Spady, aye.
SGOI.
Thank you, Peter.
Awesome. I get a couple COCs coming up later, so I'll be kicking around, see how those go. Thank you, guys.
Up next is 91 Howard Street, notice of intent for a single family home.
Good evening.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you? You guys are moving tonight.
We're cruising.
For the record,
when everyone answers the staff report before the meeting, they get done quickly.
Good. For the record, Eric Dias, registered professional engineer, Strong Point Engineering, representing Double C Realty Trust for a proposed single family within the buffer zone at 91 Howard Street. Just escaped me for a second. If I can, I will share my screen, and
Please.
This one is actually very straightforward, so I think we can probably be just as quick as the others, hopefully anyway. All right, let me zoom in. So this is 91 Howard Street. There is a BBW across a large portion of the rear of the lot. This lot is about 2.6 acres, and everything from this point forward is the only area that's really dry on the lot. The rest of it is completely wet. This area is probably about 3/4 of an acre. We're proposing to disturb just over half an acre. The site takes a pretty drastic grade change from the road to the BBW. In fact, the first, I'll say 100 feet or so from the road is basically all ledge outcrop. and drops off pretty steeply. So we did test pits all over this place. We tried to do some up high on the slope to try to keep the septic even further away from the BBW and out of the buffer zone if we could, and we just had refusal at the ground surface.
Eric, would you mind zooming in? I just want to see the grade change.
Yep. Can you see that better? This is 91 here. Bottom of the slope, we're about 83, and then we drop off to about 80 back by the BBW. So we were able to do some test pits in this location and find good suitable soils. The perk rates are a little bit slow. They're a little tight. I think we came in just under 20 minutes an inch, which is manageable. But groundwater is high because of the presence of the BBW and the bedrock outcropping. So we are proposing a bit of a raise system here. We're actually able to blend it into the landscape pretty well. The only portion of the system itself that's going to be within the 100-foot buffer zone is this one trench here, and that is only about 10 feet into the 100-foot buffer zone. We end the return back to grade, existing grade at 3-to-1, well outside of the 50. All of the proposed disturbances are outside of the 50 on this. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit so you can hopefully see the whole thing a little bit better. Let me try that. There we go. So everything is proposed outside the 50. We are limiting the tree clear to provide both, obviously stay out of the 50 and provide a buffer to the abutters on both sides of us. We are proposing conservation markers along the limit of the tree clear at each end and one in the middle. The house itself is pretty modest and was designed specifically to fit this site. Because of the slope, it gives us a great opportunity to do a walkout basement in the back and kind of minimize the amount of ledge and stuff that we really have to pound out of this place. We were able to keep all impervious surfaces associated with the house and the driveway and the deck areas, everything out of the 100-foot buffer zone, which is great. We are elevated above the roadway, so driveway is obviously draining back toward Howard Street. Because we are in an ACEC, we are required to seek a waiver for impervious surfaces between the 100 and 200. So we have included that request, that waiver request, noting that all of our impervious surfaces are outside of the 100. Our stormwater from the driveway surface is returning to the street, and that we have, you know, a 2.6 acre site that we're only disturbing about 0.6, 0.7 or so acres of, and we're staying out of the 50. So we feel that that in and of itself protects the functions and values of the wetland, and with the conservation markers included, we feel that that, you know, protects the public welfare and things like that. So we think it's pretty straightforward, pretty acceptable project that the commission's probably seen a lot worse in the past, and we're hopeful people agree. That's all I got.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jennifer, any staff comment on 91 Howard?
No, the only other question that I had was, is it more than an acre for a NIPD's permit? But he's already answered that question. So thank you.
Any comments or questions from members of the commission?
That was pretty straightforward for me.
Yeah. Any public comment here for 91 Howard Street? All right, again, seeing none. Eric, I assume you'd like to close.
Yes, please.
Motion to close the public hearing for 91 Howard Street.
Spady, second.
Carol motion, Spady a second. Roll call vote.
Benson, aye.
Carol, aye.
Spady, aye.
Phil, did you vote?
Yeah,
sorry, didn't hear that. Motion to issue an order of conditions and permit for work for 91 Howard Street.
Vecchio second.
Carol motion, Vecchio second. Roll call vote.
Benson, aye.
Carol, aye.
Spady, aye.
Vecchio, aye.
Thank you, Eric. Challenging site, well-designed project. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you all for your time and your help. Thank you.
Moving on to continued hearings and possible deliberations. First up is Washington Street Dickerman Road to Elm Street, which is the Mass DOT project.
I'm just going to make a note in your breakout agenda that I write on. They're last, but on the posted agenda, they're first. So if you're looking at the agenda I sent you, it's just in a different order. Matt, is everybody coming on?
Yes. So with me tonight is Melissa Lenker of MassDOT and Jonathan Nero of Beta. I'm not sure if Greg Swan from the DPW is able to attend tonight, but those would be the people that I'm expecting to be here.
Okay.
So, Matt, we've had, I think last time we heard this project, it was February.
Correct.
And we've had some changes in the commission since then.
Okay.
So I would ask if you want the full board to deliberate and vote on this, I would just ask that you do another presentation, just starting from the beginning and sort of explaining the project in its totality.
Okay, gotcha. All right, thank you. So for the record, my name is Matt Crowley, professional engineer with Beta Group, representing MassDOT. As I noted, I have Jonathan Nero here, also from Beta Group, and Melissa Lenker from MassDOT's environmental section should be joining us, if not online already. Let me share my screen. I should state that I was initially preparing to just do a general overview of what has changed on the project. So I will just try to ad-lib here to do the full description again for everyone.
I apologize to put you on the spot.
It's been 6 months, so we should probably understand that there may be some changeover in the commission. So totally understandable. So to give a high-level view of the project, this is a roadway improvement project that begins on the north on Washington Street near the intersection of Dickerman Road, extending to just beyond the intersection of Elm Street to the south. It also includes a little bit of work of both Elm Street on both sides of Washington Street, I should say. The purpose of the project is a roadway redevelopment. Primarily, it proposes to reconfigure the existing roadway cross-section to include sidewalks on both sides of the roadway, as well as bicycle lanes. Also, the intersection of Elm Street and Washington Street will be upgraded to provide some much needed safety improvements. It's currently not up to current design standards, and signals will be provided at the intersection. To kind of focus in at some of the wetlands throughout the project, there are approximately 4 wetland areas primarily associated with outfall locations. So that's where I'd like to focus a little bit to start. The first area is near the northerly project limits at 108 Washington Street. There is an existing drainage outfall that continues beyond the property and discharges to a wetland system and stream. The existing outfall is relocated right at the edge of the wetland and has been observed to be underwater during certain parts of the year. As part of the project, we propose to pull the outfall back about 15 feet and also raise the invert elevation of the outfall. We're going to be adding scour protection, and impacts to wetland resources areas are all temporary in nature to both land underwater, wetlands, as well as bank. All the temporarily disturbed areas are going to be fully restored with a combination of wetland seed mix, jute mesh, core logs, and all restoration efforts are going to be observed by a wetland specialist. It will be documented with associated wetland monitoring reports. We should note that any stream bed material that is removed as part of the associated work here is going to be stored, protected, and stockpiled, and then returned to its original location. So the next area that I would like to discuss is just a little bit further to the south over at, let's see, this is 111 Washington Street. So the work here is very similar in nature to the work at the outfall that we previously discussed. The primary difference being here is that this is in proximity to a fairly recently installed soil absorption system. We don't anticipate any impacts to the soil absorption system itself. However, to ensure that we're not going to be creating any sort of conduit between the system and the outfall, we're providing a 30 mil impermeable barrier along the edge of the trench. There's also going to be some impacts to some of the plantings that were done as part of that work. I think there's 6 inkberry and 2 oak trees that we're going to be replacing in kind. Sort of the majority of the roadway section is all in upland areas. So I'm just going to kind of work from north to south. And we actually want to get to, I'm going to skip over to the last page. This is Washington Street here, and this is Elm Street coming down. There's one additional outfall, which is just beyond Frothingham Drive. This outfall carries flow from town roadways and there's almost no change in contributing area or impervious area here. As such, any future upgrades in this area would be the responsibility of the town and the DPW, as this is a town drainage system which carries town drainage flows. We do know it's our understanding that the town has recently cleaned out the drainage system in this area, and we are providing some additional catchment in the form of deep sump catch basins. So we do anticipate improved conditions in this area as well. The last area I wanted to discuss was what we've been referring to as the southerly outfall. Again, this would over here on the left would be the intersection of Elm Street. The drainage system continues beyond the project limits, actually approximately 600 feet beyond the project limits if you follow the alignment of the pipe, and discharges off-site behind a private property behind this farmland here. We understand that the property owner has expressed some concern with discharges of pollutants onto their property. Currently, there is no formal stormwater treatment discharging here, and the project proposes to replace existing catch basins with deep sump catch basins with hoods. These improvements are anticipated to provide improved sediment and debris capture and can provide some removal of hydrocarbons. Also, we are proposing a number of leaching areas along the project corridor. Essentially, it consists of a deep sump catch basin that directs the initial flow to a series of leaching basins that are shown on this plan. And then the overflow will continue into the main drainage system. But this will also provide some stormwater improvements to this outfall. So, as of our last submission to the commission, we were not proposing any improvements to the outfall itself. However, as of this afternoon, MassDOT was able to confirm that there is in fact a drainage easement along this pipeline to the outfall, and they are prepared to commit to provide some upgrades in the form of maintenance and riprap scour protection if the commission would like to see that done. So we can provide some upgrade to that outfall.
I'm sorry, so is there a drainage easement here? It sounds like the answer is yes.
The answer is yes. MassDOT was just able to locate as of this afternoon, so nothing is depicted on the sheet that we submitted to the commission. The drainage outfall was installed back in 1922, so it did take some effort for MassDOT to track that down.
Yeah,
but we were all very happy to see that there is in fact an easement there. Regarding
and answering all the rest of the questions we had for you for that area. So.
I'm sorry, Jen, I didn't quite hear what you said.
Having the easement will help you answer all the questions we had for that area, so that's good to know.
Great. So regarding stormwater throughout the remainder of the project, as I noted about the deep sump catch basins with hoods, that is what is proposed through the entire project corridor, not just at the southerly outfall. We are also proposing these leaching type structures in 6 different areas throughout the corridor. It's not just limited to a single section. During the peer review process, the peer review did express some concern with the separation to groundwater from the leaching structures. These are about a little over 9 feet below the existing ground. So we did go back and take a relook at that. So although not depicted on this plan, we are going to change these over to a linear chamber system, which will bring these up about 3 feet higher than they were shown on the last submission. So we will have improved separation of groundwater, and it should ensure some better pollutant treatment without being impacted during the spring. Let's see. Just to reiterate, this project is considered a redevelopment project, and, stormwater improvements are only required to the maximum extent practicable. However, it is certainly worth noting, after going back and looking where we could add these leaching structures, we are able to provide the required water quality as well as the recharge for all the new impervious area on the project on a project-wide basis. Also, as of to note is the project proposes an increase of about 27,000 square feet of impervious surface, roughly half an acre. I think just to kind of put this in context, you're probably looking on the order of 4 to 5 residential lots being developed. That's essentially the amount of impervious that's being added to this project corridor, which is about 3/4 of a mile long. So with that, I'm sure the commission may have questions or may wish to hear from their peer reviewer on the subject. So I'd be happy to answer questions or go from there.
No, that was extremely helpful. I think a lot of the understanding that there's an easement there and the state is willing to provide some, I guess, additional details on how water will be treated, I think will help guide us here. John, would you mind giving us some input?
Sure. And it sounds like some of the questions that were listed in my letter are in the works of being answered. I mean, we weren't sure about the easement or what, there was nothing going to be done to that outlet, which is currently underwater based on their investigations. So, the southern outlet, I think, was the biggest issue I had. And I think one of the comments I had, so I don't know, Jen, if you can put up those hydraulic profile things that we had talked about. I don't know if that's possible. I just wanted, this was one issue that I had in a few different spots. So like Matt said, the pipe was put in, 1922?
Correct.
So, and it might, I think it said on the plan, it might even be clay. Is that right?
I'm not sure on that one. Yeah, I'd have to go back and look. Yeah.
It's amazing that it's functioning at all, to be honest.
Well, I mean, I don't know if anybody's put a camera down it. I'm sure water goes through it, but it's the clay joints usually, well, it's a farm field. If it was a forest, it'd probably be full of roots. But obviously, since 1922, it might have been built up a little bit in that area. So it's likely an undersized pipe. And if you look at they did an analysis of the drainage calculations for the pipes, and the pipes going to that one in particular, it looks like they're undersized because the hydraulic grade line, what the hydraulic grade line is the height the water would be if you drilled a hole in the top of the pipe and put a tube, you'd see how high the water would come up. And it's right up to the rims of the manholes for this system here, even in the new section. And we talked about maybe taking a look if there's something that can be done with that, because you're not going to want to rip the road up. You'd rather fix the pipes, sooner than later. And I think that at the end, I'm not even sure if the pipes and the inverts were surveyed. I know you got the end with GPS, but I don't know about the other ones. It looked sort of estimated. So I think that one there, it just seems prudent to do what you can now. I mean, they've added 2 catch basins with hoods because there was only 2 more left, and that's great. I think that's awesome. I think going to the end, it's underwater, cleaning it out, putting riprap and stuff there. That's awesome too. Having the easement lets you do it so you can get at it and maintain it. I would say there is an increase in area to this one. There's an increase in rate. There's an increase in volume there. what they did, I believe, is a sort of static estimate of how much the water would come up if you just dump that water into the area of the wetland at the end. It's conservative. Water comes in, water comes out. It's probably never going to get that high, but the estimate was 4 inches, which is a lot of water for someone to take. And the neighbors that own the property and lease the property both expressed concern. So I think this is probably the biggest issue for the commission to grapple with. There are other locations that have some of that same hydraulic grade line issue. The one outlet up by Dolly's Way, and that looks like they could probably, and I don't know if you did any looking at that map, but it looked like you could maybe readjust an attic manhole or something to get rid of that problem, but I don't know if you looked at it or not.
Yeah, so it actually turns out that that would be the final segment that would need to be upsized from the 24-inch pipe. That segment would need to be upsized to the outfall to make.
And then you could fix that problem there.
We could, yes, and that's something that we're discussing with MassDOT to see if they want to upgrade it. As it is right now, you're looking at an existing 12-inch pipe that's being upgraded to 24-inch pipe. With less contributing air going to it, with no drainage issues. So it just becomes: does it make sense to jump up to a 30-inch pipe?
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't know if you could maybe put another man instead of all coming in at the same manhole. Sometimes when you put another manhole in below it, it affects the same thing. I don't know if you looked at that as an option, but so that was there. Elm Street, looking at the inverts for Elm Street, it looks like, and I think there might be some sort of a survey question there because it looks like the pipe goes the wrong way.
Yeah, so we do note that, surveyors, they typically get the inverts through a measure down that's done on an angle trying to get into it. So we've certainly seen inverts be off by, 2-3 tenths, when they go out there and do it. So it's certainly possible there's a slight discrepancy in the survey elevation out there. We did take a look at the capacity at that, and it would actually need to be, the slope would need to be changed more than we initially thought out there to make that work. So that would fall under the jurisdiction of the DPW to determine if they want to upgrade that pipe in the future.
That looks like you could be chasing pipes for some distance because not your part. Your part comes in with plenty of pitch, but the other road, I don't know what the slopes are there, and that all ties into a water quality inlet, and it doesn't look like an easy fix there. The southern end, I think it's outside the project limits, but I still think there's one really flat pipe, and there might be something you could do there on the part that you're working on if you look at the slopes.
Gotcha. Yeah, so MassDOT is going to look further into the pipes within the project limits themselves to see if they want to increase the pipe size as part of this project. I don't think that they want to consider extending the pipe beyond the project limits. One of the primary reasons being that the easement references a specific pipe size. It actually says 15 inches on the easement. So, I think that the pipe size that's noted on our plan may be incorrect. It may not be as under capacity as initially thought. But because the easement does reference specifically a 15-inch pipe, I don't think that we'd be able to upgrade that in consideration that the MassDOT right-of-way group thinks that this is Article 97 land. So it would actually be a major process to be able to change anything that's outside of the language of the original easement.
Well, if you measured it and it actually ends up being a 15-inch, that would help you.
It would if there's a 12-inch out there today. Yes.
Well, yeah, if it's called 12, but it's really 15. Did they measure it as 12? Yeah, I mean, that could help. I just look at this as like this is probably like a long time between projects, and fixing it when you can makes sense. The other issues I had really related to these leaching pits, which it sounds like they're going to do a shallower system. What happened is you can only dig a hole so deep next to the road, which is where these are. And I think they dug down around 8 feet or so. And the bottom was around 9-10 feet down. So you're about 9 feet down. So you're below the bottom, plus you need 2 feet of separation. So you don't know what you have. And odds are around here, 10 feet, you're probably going to be in water. In some of these areas, I know that those not right next to wetlands, but the soil's not pure sand or anything. So you typically have a somewhat perched water table in those types of soils sometimes too. So by changing that, and I haven't seen it, so I'm assuming that addresses that issue. So really the only issues relate to some of these hydraulic conditions in the pipe. From the sounds of it. Unless the board has other questions on my letter, that I think sums it up.
I don't think I have a specific question on your letter, but I guess it sounds to me like the improvements that have been proposed, particularly in the southern area of the project tonight, which I think would be on another revision of plans that we'd see here, would get us close, if not all the way, to meeting our stormwater requirements.
Sounds like we're close, yeah.
Okay.
I just have two follow-ups. So it does sound like we're getting much closer. So this is really good. Thanks for the extra information today. Can you give us a copy of that easement, please? And why, I don't understand why you think it's Article 97 land. What, can you explain why you think it's Article 97?
I would probably have to ask MassDOT right away to provide a statement on that. I think it has something to deal with that DCR has a lien on the farm property, was what I believe I read. So I can't speak to that. I'm not familiar with the process, but I can certainly have MassDOT right away prepare a statement. Or request
that would be great. Yeah, thank you.
Could someone define Article 97 land?
Yes, Article 97 was an amendment to the Constitution in 1996. It has since been passed into a law from the Public Lands PLPA about a year ago, or maybe two at this point, and says that land has been set aside specifically for either conservation purposes, recreation purposes, water, natural resource protection, like conservation property, conservation restrictions, parkland. If it is converted to a different use, then it has to be replaced in kind, not just with the acreage, but also the habitat values and natural resource values of the property. So it's a pretty big deal. It's, you know, saying all of those lands are really important and they can't just be converted for any use. But I was not aware of DCR having a lien on the property, so that would be really helpful to get that information.
And that would again have to do with particularly the southern portion of this project.
Correct.
Okay. I don't have any more questions at this time. Any members of the commission have questions?
No, that was good.
Yeah. Yeah, I echo that. Any members of the public here with questions for Washington Street, Dickerman Road to Elm Street DOT project?
We do. We have a hand raised. I'm going to promote now. What happened there? Dave Kelly had your hand raised and I tried to promote you. Do you want me to try again? Yep.
Are you able to hear me? I apologize.
Mr. Kelly, we can hear you. Would you be able to turn your camera on?
Sure, 1 second. I'm holding a phone, so apologize if it's shaky.
That's okay. So that's just before you give a comment, could you give us your full name and address?
Sure.
For the record.
My name is Dave Kelly. I am speaking about 111 Washington Street, which is a small commercial property that I'm one of the owners of.
Okay.
I also actually have my personal home. That's this same project as well, but that's not why I'm here. I was just wanted to comment. First of all, I want to thank everyone for their time. I know that this job is not well paid or much paid at all, and relatively thankless. So thank you for your efforts. I also wanted to thank the team from Beta for spending some time answering some of the questions I had. I just wanted to call out that I wish we would have been included in the project sooner. Our lot is one of the more impacted lots in the project, with one of the outfalls that is on the northern edge. And it's going to involve significant tree removal and disruption to our tenants. And I'm concerned about impacts to our septic system. And I didn't find out about this until just a couple months ago, as part of the kind of right away process. So I don't know if there's a mechanism that the commission could put in place to have impacted properties be notified so they could attend these meetings more at an earlier stage.
So, Mr. Kelly, you should have received a notification from our office because you're in a budding property as an owner. I don't know how you own the property, if it's owned by a business, but there's a process, a notification process where an address listed with the town would have received public notice.
Yeah, I don't, for whatever reason that didn't happen. The first information we got about the project was through the right-of-way department at the Mass DOT, which I will tell you from my experience was a very challenging process. They basically said, oh, you should just sign off and there's no impacts to your property. And in fact, there's relatively substantial impacts to our property. And so I don't think it wasn't very well communicated. And I understand, progress has to happen. And, sidewalks and bike lanes are good. So I'm not really opposed to the project as a whole. I just, I wish I didn't really want to run a very large drainage pipe and digging project right behind a brand new septic system. I would have liked to have been able to issue those comments sooner rather than at the very end of the design phase.
Thank you for that. Well, certainly. Melissa, would you like to respond?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for letting me know. I'll let the project manager know. There should have been a design public hearing for the project, and there should have been also public notices that went out for the hearings. I know that Mass DOT is exempt from abutter notifications for the Wetlands Protection Act, so that may be a little bit of the confusion here. But I just wanted to thank you for letting me know so I can let everyone at Mass DOT know as well.
Very good. So that's it. Sorry to interrupt.
Uninterrupted. Thank you for the comment.
We have one more hand raised.
Good evening, folks.
We can hear you. We can see you. Would you please just state your name and address for the record?
Sure. Kevin O'Dwyer, 183 Elm Street, and operator of Langwater Farm, the organic farm at 215 Washington Street at the southern edge of the project. And thanks for your time. And it looks like that Mass DOT has made some improvements to the project to handle some of our concerns, and we're thankful for that. I did hear, Matt, you say that there was a monitoring plan in place for one of the northern outfalls to see how that worked or how the improvements turned out. Is there a plan in place to monitor what happens at the southern outfall there and to see if the deep sump catch basin and the hood are actually effective at excluding the pollutants from entering the farm?
So I think the effectiveness of the deep sump catch basins has been pretty well documented over a number of roadway projects. MassDOT maintenance will be made aware of all of the catch basins on this project as well as the outfalls, and they take more of a programmatic approach to maintenance in maintaining all their infrastructure.
Okay, so you're confident that these are effective even during heavy rain events, that they can separate the petroleum pollutants from the stormwater?
So petroleum deep sump catch basins are not specifically designed for removing petroleum. However, with the addition of a hood, it can provide some removal of the hydrocarbons, but it's not specifically made for that purpose. So I wouldn't say it's a significant removal process, but it can provide some. Essentially, the oil or hydrocarbons will stay at the top of the water, and when it rises up, only the puck that goes through the hood will make it out of the system.
Right. Okay. So some will get through, for sure.
Some will get through. That is correct. Yes.
And I can confirm that water does come out, John. It comes gushing out during storm events, and you can see obvious debris from upstream, stickers from the gas station, the mobile gas station, road sand, salt is all at the end of the pipe.
So it sounds to me like what is being proposed here is going to increase water flow, but mitigate the water flow better than the existing condition. Am I understanding that correctly, Matt, John?
So in terms of water quality, yes. Water quality should be improved. The catch basins that are out there today do not have hoods and they are not deep sump. So they do provide pretty limited amounts of sediment capture. So with a 4-foot sump, those roadway sands are going to have a much greater storage area to reside in the catch basin rather than downstream.
Is there anything that can be done by the commission, the property owner, or the state here that would help prevent additional pollutants from accumulating in the area? Is there another treatment process or something else that we could do?
So we did look at what was practicable to do, and we have added some leaching systems, small leaching systems in the project corridor to provide some additional treatment. However, to provide any substantial improvements, you're looking on the order of large retention or detention type structures. And on a linear roadway project with no right of way, there just isn't adequate areas to place them. And we should note that where the small leaching systems are proposed are in areas where we have adequate separation to residential basements and things of that nature. So we really looked at where are all the places that we can add these type of things. So realistically, there's not that much that can be done at this time for a roadway project.
And then you have the additional problem of this being a situation where you can't improve. Is it just the size of the pipe as a result of the easement?
So yes, potentially, but we should note that increasing the size of the pipe would actually allow more water to get to that property. So there will be some restriction, and obviously the water still has to go somewhere. In this case, it'll continue on down the street if it can't get into the system here. But,
okay.
And Ben, I'm just going to add that maintenance is key. That you put in a detention basin with a 4-foot sump, it fills with sediment. It can be recirculated over and over again if it's not maintained for years at a time. It seems like maybe the existing conditions are not really being maintained. And so we really need some sort of definitive statement from DOT that they're actually going to maintain these basins so that they do function correctly.
Okay. Kevin, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
No, that's all. Thank you.
Of course. Any additional public comment here? All right, seeing none. I think I'm presuming that the applicant would like a continuance to our next meeting.
Yes, I think that would be appropriate. I mean, I think initially, our preference would have been to potentially close with conditions, but I think the peer review and agent want to see some additional information as well as the commission. So if that's the preference, then we'll certainly like to continue and get that info in and very quickly.
Okay. And Jennifer, just so I'm not messing up the date, our next meeting is 9:30, correct?
9:23.
Oh, my bad.
I just confirmed, but I think it's the 23rd. Yep.
Glad I asked.
Yes, and the more complete your plans are, the fewer conditions we have to write. So that would be great to have.
Understood. Yep.
As close as possible. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So motion to continue Washington Street, Dickerman Road to Elm Street, Mass DOT Highway Project to the September 23rd meeting of the Easton Conservation Commission.
Benson second.
Carol motion, Benson second. Roll call vote.
Benson, aye.
Carol, aye.
Beatty, aye.
Dashiell, aye.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So up next on continued hearings and possible deliberations, 230 Main Street, notice of intent for a boathouse replacement.
I've received no documentation since the last meeting when no one showed up. I did send an email notifying them that, they missed their hearing and to be present at this meeting. We've also heard from DEP that an application hasn't been submitted to them, which is why we're not getting file numbers. So I'm a little surprised no one's here tonight, but they haven't applied to DEP yet. So we may just take this off the agenda. It's hard to deny a project that hasn't been applied for. So we can just take it off the agenda, and they'll have to re-notify abutters and redo the legal notice when they actually have submitted all of their information.
So we take this off the agenda, and it allows them to reapply for the same project, but they have to restart the application again.
Yeah, they'll still have the application in our online permitting system. We're just not going to take any action until they apply for their DEP permits. We get file number, and they're not even replying to us. So
yeah, I think not replying, and I think it sort of becomes unfair to abutters at a certain point here. So let's remove this, require the notice requirement again when they reapply. And does that require a vote?
Yeah, why don't we do that just so we have it?
All right, so motion to remove 230 Main Street from the agenda of the Conservation Commission until, I guess, further correspondence and re-notification of abutters by the applicant.
Vecchio second.
Carol motion, Vecchio second, roll call vote.
Benson, aye.
Carol, aye.
Spady, aye.
Vecchio, aye.
Thanks.
All right, so up next is 557 Foundry Street. Notice of intent for redevelopment at Swifts Park. I recall last time we were waiting for a DEP number.
Correct. We still don't have a DEP number, so they would be continued. I don't see anyone here.
Okay. I just didn't see, did I miss that on the agenda? Is there a requested continuance?
No, but there's no one here, and we're just waiting for the file number.
Yeah, easy enough. Motion to continue 557 Foundry Street to the September 23rd meeting of the Conservation Commission.
Benson, second.
Carol motion, Benson second, roll call vote.
Benson, aye.
Carol, aye.
Spady, aye.
Vecchio, aye.
Up next, 572 Foundry Street.
Yep, Mark is joining us. And Julie. Yeah, Mark is here and Julie, the property owner, are both here. So we did receive all the information we were waiting for at the last meeting.
Okay.
This project under the bylaw, and you have a draft permit in your binder. So this is ready to be closed and issued.
All right. Yeah, if I recall, we were just waiting for an engineer stamp on the plan more than anything. And it sounds like we received that. Let me just ask any comments or questions from members of the commission. Any comments or questions from members of the public with respect to 572 Foundry Street? Seeing none, motion to close the public hearing for 572 Foundry Street.
80 second.
Hold on, before I do that, Julie, Mark, I assume you're okay with that. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Not unless there's something you need from us. Thank you.
No, I think we're okay. Carol motion, Spady a second, roll call vote.
Benson, aye.
Carol, aye.
Spady, aye.
Vecchio, aye.
Motion to issue a permit for work for 572 Foundry Street.
Thank you very much, committee.
One more vote.
Oh.
It's okay. Did I get a second?
Vecchio, second.
Carol motion, Vecchio second, roll call vote.
Benson, aye.
Carol, aye.
Spady, aye.
Vecchio, aye.
Thank you.
Thanks for your patience, Julie. It'll probably be out today or tomorrow. Tomorrow or the next day.
Thank you all very much for your support. Appreciate it.
Up next is 51 Rockland Street.
The applicant requested a continuance to 10/7.
Thank you. I read the first line and then I look at the bottom. Motion to continue 51 Rockland Street to the October 7th meeting of the Easton Conservation Commission.
Spady, second.
Carol motion, Spady second, roll call vote.
Benson, aye.
Carol, aye.
Spady, aye.
Vecchio, aye.
Up next is 632, 646 through 666 Washington Street. I see that this applicant has requested a continuance. Any discussion needed here, Jennifer?
No, the continuance is to 9/23.
Yep. Motion to continue 632, 646, 666 Washington Street to the 9/23 meeting of the Easton Conservation Commission.
Benson, second.
Carol motion, Benson second, roll call vote.
Benson, aye.
Carol, aye.
Spady, aye.
Vecchio, aye.
That one's a tongue twister. Up next is 524 Depot Street. Notice of intent for public safety and public works facilities.
They've requested a continuance to 9/23.
Okay. Any further conversation needed on this? Okay. Motion to continue 524 Depot Street to the September 23rd meeting of the Easton Conservation Commission.
Vecchio, second.
Carol motion, Vecchio second, roll call vote.
Benson, aye.
Carol, aye.
Spady, aye.
Right. Turning next to certificates of compliance. First up is 163 Turnpike Street.
Yeah, their issue was just that they looked like there was new compost being dumped behind the no disturbance zone signs. I did get an email today that said it had been removed, but I did not have time to do the site inspection today. I mean, you could issue pending the follow-up site inspection, and then you'd be within your 3-week window. So if in 2 weeks at the next meeting I had done the inspection and there was a problem, you could always rescind the vote. But
yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
Again, anyone jump in here if you feel otherwise.
That works.
So motion to issue a certificate of compliance at 163 Turnpike Street pending final inspection by the agent.
Spady, second.
Carol motion, Spady second, roll call vote.
Benson, aye.
Carol, aye.
Spady, aye.
Phil, for some reason your mic is working like every other time.
yeah, it is.
I'm just sort of I'm piecing it together, but I got it. I'm just giving you a heads up. I'm not intentionally ignoring you. Up next is 358 Turnpike Street, request for certificate of compliance.
That's ready for a full certificate of compliance.
Okay. Motion to issue a certificate of compliance at 358 Turnpike Street.
Benson, second.
Carol motion, Vecchio second because we heard him. Roll call vote.
Benson, aye.
Carol, aye.
Spady, aye.
Vecchio, aye.
Peter, I hope you weren't waiting for that one. Up next is 36 Union Street.
Also ready for a full certificate.
Motion to issue a certificate of compliance for 36 Union Street.
Spady, second.
Carol motion, Spady a second, roll call vote.
Benson, aye.
Carol, aye.
Spady, aye.
Vecchio, aye.
Up next is 76 Union Street, certificate of compliance.
The last note was they needed to remove the sediment control, but they requested to leave it up. They might be doing a repaving project in the future and refiling, so they didn't want to have to pay for it twice. So otherwise, it's ready for a full.
Okay. Is removing the erosion control something that we like? Does that have a significant impact?
Yes, it'd be okay if they're going to do this paving project. Within.
No, I think the rationale makes perfect sense. I had always sort of thought it was an ugly landscape area that was probably a net positive, but my bad.
I know it could be a barrier to wildlife. I definitely there are certain on our website we recommend certain types of sediment control because of certain materials. I've definitely seen frogs and snakes caught in the sediment control, so you do want to remove that as soon as it's able to be done.
Okay.
See a lot of dead chipmunks in it. Just want to get caught in it all the time.
A lot of what?
Chipmunks. They get caught up in that sometimes, like the riprap and the. You see a lot
of. Motion to issue a certificate of compliance at 76 Union Street.
Benson, second.
Carol motion, Benson second, roll call vote.
Benson, aye.
Carol, aye.
Spady, aye.
On to enforcement. Let's start with 109 Rockwood Street.
Yeah, at the last meeting, we gave the deadline of 9/9 to remove the fill from the wetland. It has not happened yet.
That's okay. Good.
You issued an enforcement order, and you did notify them that if it still hadn't been done, you would consider fining.
Okay. I guess we start fining. It's been on our agenda for a long time. I don't like to do it, but hopefully it'll get their attention.
Agreed.
Do you need a motion for that?
Yes, and
you set a value or no?
You kind of need to tell me how much. Yeah. Is it daily? Are you just doing one fine? Remember, at the end of the week, be out for the next week.
Do you want to just do one good fine? Maybe it's a wake-up call. Can we take it from there?
So is $300 per violation? Is that what it is per day?
Up to, yep, correct.
Up to.
Yep.
And it from our last few conversations on this, it seems like it's completely our discretion on how we issue them.
Correct.
Just can't exceed the maximum.
Correct.
Would it be, and I am genuinely asking, would it be possible to do like how many violations is this technically?
Well, it's removing a large number of trees and vegetation and then filling in the wetland.
So is that 2?
You could say technically 2.
Okay.
If you brought it to Superior Court to enforce that, they'd probably call it 1.
Okay. I guess my thought is, can we do a $300 a week fine until the next meeting?
You could certainly do that, but
would that put you in a position where you have to do it?
I won't be in a position to issue that.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess that's my question. You have to do a daily inspection when we're finding somebody, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you could do the one, because I'm away next week, you could just do the one fine now. And then I'll expect, hopefully we'll hear from them before the next meeting, and I'll be back the day of the meeting to take any calls from them if they do, and hopefully they will respond. Okay. And then after that, it's only tough because I'm going to be away, and if you issue the fine and then they call the office and no one's there to answer the question, it doesn't help the situation when we're just trying to get them to remove the fill from the wetland.
Yeah. So then it sounds like we can do one. What would that be? 1 day of fines?
I would just probably
just see if that gets their
attention. One, I'll issue it tomorrow, but they're going to get it when I'm away, and then they're going to call frantically.
Can you issue it with a letter that says, "Look, I'm out. We're doing one fine. Talk to us before the next meeting, and we're going to reconsider how we fine, like what we're going to do about fines at the next meeting."
I can do that. Yeah.
But they're not going to get better.
Yep, I'll just make a note here.
I'm really just, if I got a fine, I would probably be alarmed and want to talk to whoever issued the fine to me.
Yes.
All right.
Could we put in the letter that the commission will consider fines up to $300 a day?
I think it's already in the enforcement order, isn't it?
In the enforcement order. Yeah.
Okay.
And I usually highlight it
okay.
to make sure they read it.
And in all fairness, this has been on our agenda for
about a year.
A year, yeah. I mean, about as long as I can remember agenda items. All right. Any additional comment here?
Nope. Just the motion, please.
All right. So I guess motion to begin issuing fines as discussed at 109 Rockland Street.
Vecchio second.
Carol motion. Vecchio second. Roll call vote.
Benson, aye.
Carol, aye.
Spady, aye.
Vecchio, aye.
24 Summer Street.
The enforcement order told them to file a wetland permit. They have done that. At the last meeting, wasn't quite ready to be on the agenda. I submitted an extensive list of items to be addressed. We got a whole bunch of emails today that they have addressed them, but I have not had the chance to review them. So they are moving forward.
All right. So we're on for the 23rd.
We should be, yes. We just have to make sure everything they gave us is what was. Yep. And then the next two are just updates. So 20 Central Street, the planting is required by the end of September. And we already talked about 358 Turnpike Street that has been resolved.
Very good. Yeah. I'd like to get that enforcement list down to 0.
Would be nice.
Board discussion, What's that?
It's a lovely thought.
Yeah. It's my least favorite part of this. Board discussion, conservation project list.
So at the Community Preservation Committee meeting this Thursday, we will be talking about our 3 projects. So if people can attend, that would be great. We're looking at improvements to Tufts Farmstead, purchasing the Keach property on Chestnut Street, and the pond evaluations.
Great. Jennifer, did you get a cost on that pond evaluation?
Not yet.
Should we remove that from the consideration?
No, it's just a letter of interest at this time, and we already have the person reviewing it and ready to provide, their recommendations as soon as they've finished the recommendations.
Well, what I'm getting
at letter of interest right now.
What I'm getting at is if we can't provide a number, even directionally, it's going to be hard for the commission or the committee to evaluate that.
Sure, but it's still only the letter of interest stage that you're in that CPC.
Well, it may be problematic, is what I'm suggesting.
Might be. We won't know until Thursday when we go to the meeting. And these are our projects that we're bringing to the Community Preservation Committee. So we're going to, move them forward as best we can.
Okay. Review meeting minutes for August 5th, 2024.
I make a motion to approve the August 5th minutes as amended.
80 second.
Benson motion, Spady second. Roll call vote.
Benson, aye.
Carol, aye.
Spady, aye.
Vecchio, aye.
Chair updates. Al, without you at the meeting last time, it was really awkward for me to make the motion and then be the first one up on roll call.
Hopefully I gave you some help tonight.
Always.
I didn't know what to do with myself. It was like too much talking in a row. That's my update. Environmental planner updates.
Just that we've scheduled our first trail meeting, and it will be Sunday, September 22nd We'll be meeting at Clifford Grant. We should redo the kiosk at that area. So I've got to buy the materials and I'll cart them back out on that Sunday and hopefully go over some actual trail work with people. Depends on who shows up and what they're interested in. But that, I think I said from 10 to 2 maybe.
So Phil, we have a small army of very helpful trail volunteers that maintain the vast majority of the trails in Easton.
He's on the list. He came to the meeting.
I nailed that.
And Mike, the signs are ready to be posted and they're laminated for hunting season. So just let me know when and I'll pull the keys out for you.
I will come by maybe tomorrow, but I'll send you a text. I'll let you know. But I'll be this week. I'll come by and grab them.
Great. Thanks.
Great.
Any pertinent item not reasonably anticipated? Seeing a lot of heads nodding in either direction. Final motion to adjourn.
Second.
Carol motion, Spadia second, roll call vote.
Benson, aye.
Carol, aye.
Spadia, aye.
Vecchio, aye.
Hey, nice job, everyone. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Big agenda. We moved quick.
Yes.
Night, folks.
It moves quickly when they follow the staff report. The revisions is why I tell them what to do. Okay. Have a good week.
Thank you.
Have a good night.